Okay, so maybe you're thinking about dentistry, like as a career and all, but maybe not the whole, poking teeth all day every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever thought about, like, inspiring the next generation of dentists instead?
And now there's an idea, right? It's not the first thing people think about with dentistry, but it can be really, fulfilling.
Totally. So today we're going to dive deep into the world of, like, being a dentistry lecturer.
Okay.
We've got some cool stuff from RoleCatcher for this one, this career platform. They have this
Oh.
guide. It's really detailed, and it breaks down, like, everything you need to know to make it in dental education.
You know what I find really interesting is how it goes, like, way beyond just lecturing, right? It's not just, do you know all this dental stuff? But, like, can you guide other people to discover it?
Yeah, and it's like they say, dentistry lecturers, they're actually on the cutting edge. They're doing research, collaborating on, like, I don't know, biomaterials. Imagine that, developing new dental implants, and then, boom, you get to teach that to your students.
Absolutely. That's like the key. You've got to blend research and teaching to train these well-rounded dentists. You're not just, regurgitating a textbook. You got to show them the field is always changing.
Okay, so let's get into it. What does a typical day look like for a dentistry lecture?
Well, according to this guide, you could be prepping for lectures 1 minute and then the next reviewing student research. It's a lot of teaching, obviously, but mentoring too, and got to stay updated. Dentistry's changing so fast.
Like how? Give me an example.
Well, for one, they really hit on keeping up with 3D printed dental prosthetics.
Wow.
Think about teaching that. Technologies that change how we think about dentures, even.
Okay, so it's a lot to stay on top of. What does the guide say about the, I don't know, the good and bad, the pros and cons of being a dentistry lecturer?
It's actually really honest about both. I like that. So, good stuff. Potentially, you can earn a good amount, and there's job security, which everyone wants, right? But on the other hand,
Yeah, there's always another hand. What are the downsides?
it's not easy. You got to be ready to work. They're clear about that. You need a ton of education. There's always pressure to publish research. And of course, you need the people skills. You're managing students, faculty. It's a lot. You're not just a dentist. You're a mentor. You're researching. You're like juggling all the time.
Okay, so maybe not a job if you need a lot of naps, but really, for someone with, the right drive, it sounds amazing. You could really shape the future of dentistry. What skills do they say are important?
Well, obviously, you have to really understand dentistry.
Uh-huh. Yeah, let's assume you've got the teeth stuff down.
Right. But they emphasize critical thinking big time. Problem solving, too. And not just like pass the dental school exam type of
It's
thinking.
not just memorizing, like, which tooth is which.
Exactly. It's about using your knowledge in like real situations. Say a student is stumped by a patient, their bite is unusual. As their lecturer, you got to guide them, help them solve that problem, go beyond just what's in the books.
So you're almost like, what, a detective for teeth?
In a way, yeah. And that's where active learning comes in, like the guide talks about. Dentistry it keeps changing.
Yeah.
So you're not just teaching what we know now, you're always learning, you, the student, everyone. You're analyzing new info all the time, keeping up.
So you never really stop being a student.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher really pushes that continuous learning your whole career. It's cool.
Okay, so if someone wants to get started with all this, becoming a dentistry lecturer, what do they say?
They lay it all out. I thought this was really helpful, actually. They break down a career in stages, like from newbie to, rock star dentistry lecturer.
I love a good career progression plan. Lay it on me.
So you might start as an assistant lecturer, which is basically learning the ropes, supporting the more senior faculty, like a teaching residency. Then as you get more experience, you get more confident, and you can work your way up to like leading whole programs.
That's incredible. You'd be shaping the whole curriculum.
Yeah.
Mentoring new dentists.
It really shows you how much potential there is in academia. Your role can change. You can contribute in bigger ways as you go. Maybe you start with, I don't know, a specialization, but who knows where your research takes you. The possibilities are really exciting,
A lot of room to explore and grow. So the guide also mentions RoleCatcher itself as a good resource for, well, this whole journey, right?
Totally. And it's not just this guide. It's like having, I don't know, a career coach right there on your phone. Tools for everything, finding open positions, prepping for interviews, all of it.
Seriously. So they can tell you if this is even the right career and then help you get hired.
Exactly. And they go deeper than that even. They have these tools, right? And they analyze job descriptions. So they'll tell you, hey, these skills you have, those are the ones to highlight. So you can really make your application strong. It's like having a branding expert in your back pocket,
Okay, that is seriously impressive. So we've talked about, like, the day-to-day, the good, the bad, the skills.
Mhm.
What about the person? Like, what kind of person does well as a dentistry lecturer?
That's a great question, and it's something the guide actually mentions too. It's not just about the knowledge, right? It's about how you get it across, how you get other people excited about it too. It's got to be more than just facts. You've got to make it, I don't know, exciting for them.
So it's not enough to know everything about teeth. You have to be a good storyteller, too.
Yeah, exactly. A really good dentistry lecturer can take something like, oh, I don't know, the anatomy of a tooth root and make it like interesting. They could tell stories about being a dentist or use, the newest research, show them how it connects to actually treating patients.
Right. Make it real for them. Help them see how it all fits together. The textbook stuff and, like, being a dentist.
Exactly. And you need some creativity for that, You got to
Yeah,
keep them engaged. It's a lot to compete with these days.
it's true. I never thought about it like that.
Mm.
So, passion, storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else? What else should someone thinking about this career, what should they know?
The guide talks a lot about communication and not just like lecturing clearly.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Think about it. You've got students, all different backgrounds, and you're working with colleagues who might be like specialists in totally different things. You might even be presenting your research maybe at a conference.
So you're always, like, changing how you talk depending on who's listening.
Exactly. 1 minute, it's a first-year student who's never held, a dental mirror. The next, it's a room full of experts.
Like, you need to be fluent in a bunch of dental languages.
And you got to have some empathy, read the room, see where they're at, and, adjust.
This is so interesting. Okay, but what about the less fun stuff the guide mentioned, like administrative work?
Oh, yeah, right. We can't forget that.
Even the rock star lecturers have to do paperwork.
Everyone. They don't hide that. Dentistry lecturers, they manage the curriculum, they do student assessments, and, there's always university politics.
Okay, so not as fun as discovering something new, but it's part of the job.
It's all part of it. The good dentistry lecturers, they balance it all. The teaching, the research, the admin stuff. And of course, you're always learning new things yourself, right?
It's like that image of someone juggling a bunch of things. But for someone who's really passionate about dentistry and teaching it, sounds rewarding.
Definitely. And the best part is you don't have to have it all figured out immediately. RoleCatcher, they say, this career, there are a lot of ways in and a lot of room to grow once you're there.
So you don't have to, like, start as a lead lecturer. You can start smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be a teaching assistant or really focus on research first and slowly add teaching responsibilities. It's not always a straight line, especially in academia.
That is encouraging, actually. You can figure out what you love as you go and then really focus on that.
And this is another thing they highlight, and people don't always think about it in networking.
Ah, yes, networking. But, like, not just handing your business card out at a conference, right?
Right. It's about actually connecting with people. Think about it. Dentistry, like any science, it depends on people working together.
It's not a solo thing.
Exactly. So you go to conferences, you join professional groups, you connect online. It's not just about keeping up with dentistry, it's sharing your own work, getting feedback, meeting people who are into the same thing.
It's about building a community.
Yes. And those connections, they turn into opportunities. Research, mentoring, I can't stress that enough. Those relationships are everything.
So it does matter who you know, or at least who you make an effort to get to know.
For sure. And that's something else. RoleCatcher has tools for that too. Not just finding those people, but really, keeping in touch, building those relationships. They even have stuff for finding mentors.
So they took something that can be kind of intimidating, networking, and made it easier.
Totally. Because it all comes back to taking charge of your career. They give you the tools, but you're the one driving,
I like that. Okay, so if someone's listening to this and they're like, yes, this is it, what do they do?
Well, the good news is RoleCatcher is ready to help.
Wow, they really do cover everything. So job boards, getting ready for interviews, even AI for resumes, anything else they do that we didn't mention.
Actually, yeah, and this really stood out to me. They're big on mentoring. They have built-in stuff to connect you with, experienced dentistry lecturers, people who can help you when you're just starting out.
That's amazing. Having someone who's been there who can answer your questions, that's got to be so helpful. It's like having a dental Yoda.
Huh? Exactly. And that's what I like about RoleCatcher. They don't just want you to get a job. They want you to really build a career, something you love.
Yeah, like they're saying, we're not just going to throw you in the classroom and run.
Right. And that's the thing, this whole deep dive, it's been about so much more than just, teeth. We talked about the science part, but also how to get people excited about it, how dentistry lecturers are really shaping the future.
It's true. It's that passion for discovering new stuff, for pushing dentistry forward, and then like passing that on to the next generation. Who knows? Maybe one of those students will cure periodontal disease or something.
The possibilities are huge, and it starts with like that little spark. Maybe you hear something and you're like, huh, I never thought about it like that.
So true.
Oh.
Okay, so as we're wrapping up this deep dive into dentistry lectures, we want to leave you with this.
Mm.
Imagine yourself 5, 10 years from now. You're a respected lecturer, you've done amazing research, and you're inspiring all these new dentists. What are you most proud of? What's your legacy?
That's a really good question, actually, because it makes you think about like the real difference you can make. It's not just about teaching, it's about leaving your mark on something that affects everyone.
It really is. So if you're listening and something clicked, if this got you even a little bit interested, don't ignore that. Look into it. Do some research. You might surprise yourself. Maybe you'll be shaping smiles before you know it.
And remember, there are resources out there to help you. RoleCatcher is a good place to start, definitely, but don't be afraid to talk to people, ask questions, learn from the best.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's it for our deep dive today. We hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned a thing or two. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those smiles bright.